emergency now.
What's up YouTube? Welcome to another video. And since my hair and style evolution video was kind of pretty, I don't know, you guys seem to like it, so I thought today is another video with a lot of old pictures of myself. I chose some pictures from my modeling career and wanted to talk about my jobs I had at that time and also something about body image, because that's a huge problem in this industry. So a little backstory how I got into modeling. I never wanted to be a model. I just kind of got into it because a photographer saw me on Facebook and she was like, okay, you're a tall Asian, that's interesting. Do you want to have a shooting with me? And I took some pictures with her, and eventually more photographers saw me. One of my friends at that time that I met on one of those jobs said, oh, I know a runway show, do you want to participate with me together? So he took me to that runway show, and eventually an Asian saw me at that runway show and was like, I like you, do you want to come in our agency? And this is how I got into modeling. So long story short, I was kind of discovered on Facebook, on social media. I never really took it too seriously since this is not something that I always wanted to do. When you go to agencies, this is a piece of advice to all the young girls and boys who want to join a modeling agency. At the beginning, they will tell you like all kinds of stuff like, oh, we're gonna bring you to Milan, to Paris, to New York, and promise you all kind of that bullshit. Usually it's not true. Because when you start, no one knows you. Companies want to have models with more experience. When they see you don't have any photos, they don't want to book you. So what a lot of people do at the beginning, just to be seen and just to show I have experience, is to make a lot of TFP shoots, and TFP means time for photos. Basically the photographer, the model and the makeup artist, none of them are paid, and you just take pictures together and want to publish it in one magazine or something, and this is what I did. So this is one of my first shootings that was published in a magazine. And as you can see, I still had dark hair, and I was kind of proud of that and was very happy to see myself in the magazine. It was pretty cool. Something I never really liked about modeling is that you don't have a creative input as a model. You're just like a doll and you get pretty close and you have to pose. In the shooting you can't see it, but I was freezing to death. I really hated that you should like shoot summer clothes in fucking winter and then winter clothes in summer and you're sweating to death. And then I decided I want to dye my hair completely blonde. The agency was so unhappy about that because they said, then we have to renew your book and no one will book you anymore. But I did it anyway. They were so pissed. I didn't get kicked out. I made the mistake to sign a contract without reading it completely. I sued them and they released me from that contract. I continued as freelancer. What was really fucked up is that I had very bad hypothyroidism, so I was skinny, naturally skinny kinda. But anyways, the agency gave me like a plan with my diet on it and with all the workouts that I have to do within a week. That meal plan, it was basically just eggs and lean chicken and stuff like that, and it was very unhealthy, and this is just something positive about modeling is I really like that I have very cool pictures from very talented photographers. It kinda is something that you want to have, and then later when you're old you can always see them, be like, when I was young, you just saved all those memories in those pictures. Before I started modeling, I always thought that very expensive magazines like Vogue and Bazaar, all the fashion shootings in there are the best paid jobs, but that's not true. Most of the high fashion stuff isn't very well paid. Most of it is like TFP, or you get very, very little money from that, even though the clothes that you are wearing are worth someone's monthly wage. The agency told me that when I have blonde hair, no one will book me, but I had my prime time when I was blonde, so fuck you. I always was more into that street style stuff, like for example my shooting for Fizzy magazine that I vlogged also on this channel. I was like, I want to try all kinds of jobs. I was, for example, that creepy ass girl from the Crystals music video from Eskimo Callboy, and that was a very cool experience because I was basically naked in that video and then had body paint all over me and you wouldn't even recognize me. And I worked with a very talented makeup artist, and this thing in my hair was actually table decoration, and he kind of put this in my hair and just looked very cool, and shout out to you, Kami. I also had a very little appearance in the music video of German rapper Fart, to English because it sounds like fart but it's written with an D, and I was like the money hungry bitch in that. But I really always hated to do runway jobs, and the reason why is because with runway stuff they are a lot more strict with the models, because when you have photo shootings you can Photoshop like everything. If they think, oh, that model is not skinny enough for us, they just Photoshop everything. And with runway jobs it is live in person. So when I went to castings, the worst memory I have of that is that there was one woman, she wasn't the designer, but she was a person who chooses the models, and she was running around with like something that looked like a cable, and that cable thing was exactly 92 centimeters long. And she just walks around and said to all of us, like all the models in one row. And then she went around and put this cable thing around our hips. And if it's more than this 92 centimeters, she was like, honey, I can't get your fat ass in our pants. I was really shocked, because you can just say, I think you don't fit in our concept or something, but that bitch was like, get your fat ass out of my casting room. And that was so fucked up that I left this casting, and I didn't care about if I had a chance or not. My hips were under 92 centimeters, but seriously, fuck you. I really don't understand this whole thing with the super skinny models. It's nothing wrong if you are skinny, but you are advertising clothing for customers who don't have this kind of body. And if I was a customer, I would think like, it looks good on the model because it's fitting her body type, that kind of clothing. But when I wear it, I just look shit with it. Why should I buy it? So it's really bad marketing in my opinion, and it's really ruining all the body image of young girls and all the like mental issues, and starving yourself to be skinny to look like those models. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So the jobs that I enjoyed the most was just street style stuff, like for example for Fuchsteufelswild or for Good Boys, who now I call friends of mine, because the shooting was extremely cool and I met really cool people. For example, I'm wearing a sweater of Good Boys right now, and I don't wear it because I need to advertise their clothing. It's because I know what they stand for, I know the founders in person, and I just like this stuff and I like to wear it. Same goes for Fuchsteufelswild. The jobs that are paid the best are all the commercial kind of jobs. So if you get a campaign for a store or something, change to like H&M, you get paid like one of the biggest job that I ever had was for Snipes, which is a very big like sneaker streetwear chain, especially in Germany, but also in Europe. I know that there is a store in, for example, Amsterdam. I was one of the campaign models for that chain. It was very exhausting, the whole shooting, but it was a lot of fun as well, and It was street style, my favorite. For those campaign jobs, the reason why you get paid so much is because it's called total buyout. That means you basically lose all rights for the pictures and they can literally do everything they want with it, but you will get paid a 4 or 5 digit number for the pictures and for being their model. This is the store in our town and I find it very weird to see myself in that store, so I didn't go to Snipes for a very long time, but my mom was like, I have to see my daughter in the stores, so she went there and took this picture for me. This is also like a high fashion shooting. I literally look like a completely different person, but that was also one of my most favorite shootings. The photographer was very talented. He also took these pictures, and as I told you, they Photoshop a lot because my boobs aren't this big. But I still think it's kind of cool to have those pictures. And the reason why I don't model anymore is because my hypothyroidism got a lot better, which I am very happy about, but I gained around 5 kilograms, and for the modeling industry that's already considered as too fat. I was like, seriously, fuck you, because I like my body how it is, and I'm very happy about that I gained weight, because before that, when I was extremely skinny, everything was flat and I wasn't feeling very confident in my body, and it was just also extremely unhealthy how I looked, and everything was bony. So I'm quite happy that that got a lot better. Back then, something that should have warned me is also when I was still in the agency, I found out that I have hypothyroidism, and there was this question, should I take the pills, because I'm very terrified of everything contains artificial hormones in it. Pills for hypothyroidism, those are actually pills with hormones. I talked about that in my agency and they were like, oh, don't take that, you will get fat. And basically what they said to me is, fuck your health. It's more important to be skinny, and that should be the first warning for me, but I wasn't listening because I was young and stupid at that time. They only think about how we can make a lot of profit from this girl and fuck her health. But not all agencies are like this. This is just my personal very bad experience with an agency. Shootings I still really like to do are, for example, for Blonde magazine, which is a little bit more indie, a bit more alternative. I was allowed to have pink hair in it, and the makeup and just the people were very cool. So would I still do modeling in the future? Yeah, maybe, but not in the mainstream modeling industry, because just everything was so extremely artificial. Some of the casting people were so rude. They will literally tell you you are too fat, and I know that I am not too fat, and those girls were also not too fat. They were just too fat for this fucked up industry standard. I hope this body image is changing in the future. I really like models like, for example, Barbie Ferreira, in case you know her, for example, from Instagram or something. She is a body positivity advocate, and I think the whole modeling industry is taking a step in the right direction, but currently I still see a lot of problems. Another thing that I get asked a lot is, how much money did you make when you were modeling? Most high fashion shootings I got like €0, but the shootings that are paid and the jobs that I also had like something on TV that I don't have footage of, so was basically between 300 to 3,000 euros, and I made quite a lot of money with modeling, but it just did not make me happy personally, because as I told you, I need some creative input and money isn't everything in life. So if you have any more questions for me, write it down in the comment section. I hope you liked this video, and it was interesting to see some old modeling pictures of me, and see you in the next video.